Is weird, odd, strange, or just plain bizarre is really your cup of tea? Then the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast will give you that fix. Can't believe it? Well, listen for yourself as we deliver the strangest news you definitely won't find on CNN or Fox. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Weird News Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the GSMC Weird News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Sarah, and I am joined by my co-host, Tate. How are you, Tate?
I am doing fantastic.
Really? Is there any reason that you're doing that fantastic?
I am watching the Game of Thrones.
You are behind?
I am way behind, but that was by design.
Oh.
I decided, normally I just wait till the season's over and then watch it. And so this year I decided to wait, even though it's very hard to wait till it's over. But I am just getting into it. I am 2 episodes into it, about to be 3, to finish up the season.
Nice.
Totally digging it.
Good, because I heard some people that weren't really fond of this episode or this season. Did you see? This wasn't a topic that I had on our slate for today, but did you see a couple? I don't remember if it was weeks or months before the season premiered. They had a worldwide scavenger hunt. They placed 6 Iron Thrones around the world for people to find.
No.
Yeah, I was just reading about that, actually.
I'm not one of those guys. I would not, even if it was in my backyard, I wouldn't even go out in the backyard to go get it. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not going to show up at the Star Trek convention. I just can't do it.
Apparently, they took 360-degree views of the area around where the throne was, and then they put clues on the website, and then people could try to figure out from the views and the clues where it was.
Although, I'm thinking pretty badass patio chair.
I don't think you got to keep it. Maybe you did. Maybe I should look that up. I'll look that up during the break and see if people got to keep the Iron Thrones that they found.
If it's in my backyard, they're not getting it back.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think they'd have to ask you to put it in your backyard, wouldn't they?
I'm putting it by the fire pit. I'm just going to kick back, relax on the Iron Throne.
Yes.
So I take it all back now.
All right. At any rate. No,
so you weren't even prepared for this.
No, see, now I'm just picturing you in your backyard on the Iron Throne, looking like a dork.
Yes.
We live in Northern California.
Yes, we do.
Just thought I would throw that out, but you know that, I know that.
Okay, this is a surprise.
But this story deals with Southern California. We are not in Southern California. And can I just say that Southern California is quite a ways away from Northern California, depending on what we're talking about. People get this mixed up all the time.
It's so strange when someone's like in San Diego and they expect me to come down to San Diego like just for like lunch.
Right, or come. I'm flying into San Diego. Can you pick me up from the airport?
Yes.
No. I mean, if you look at the East Coast and you look at California,
it is the East Coast.
People aren't in Florida asking someone in New York to come pick them up.
Although,
I mean, maybe
depending on what they're paying, just maybe.
Maybe. At any rate, this story is from Southern California, where the National Weather Service noticed something different or puzzling on their radar screens in Southern California this last week. It was a big green blob. It was not a UFO.
Okay.
So Casey Oswant, who is a National Weather Service meteorologist in San Diego, said that it was very strange because it was a relatively clear day and we weren't really expecting any rain or thunderstorms. But on our radar,
I'm already scared of this story. I don't know what the outcome is, but I'm already afraid.
On our radar, we were seeing something that indicated there was something out there. So he called a weather spotter in Wrightwood, California, near the blob's location in San Bernardino County. Oswant says the spotter told him the mysterious cloud was actually, you ready?
Oh, see, okay, I'm feeling better. I thought someone sneezed and it was going to be some Boogie Nights
Oh,
on the
gross.
screen. That's what I was.
Well, see, now my big reveal is like, wah, wah, wah.
Oh, sorry. What was it?
A giant swarm of ladybugs.
Whoa.
It was so big it showed up on radar.
That's actually kind of cool.
It's,
and creepy. Like, can you do a horror movie when there's a giant flock of, it is a flock, right? Of swarm.
Well, the phenomenon is known as a ladybug bloom. And while this one appears particularly large, Oswant says it's not the first time that local meteorologists have spotted the beetles. Did you know ladybugs were beetles?
See, I was going to insert bad music joke, dad joke again. But
yes, about my favorite group.
But no, I mean, they kind of look like a beetle, but a cool looking beetle.
Yes.
Not the Ringo, but more like the John Lennon beetle.
I love ladybugs. I think they're very cool looking. So on the radar, this cloud of insects looked like a light rainstorm, not quite the density of a severe thunderstorm.
Did they tell you how many beetles ladybugs it was?
Not that I have seen. Hold on. Let me rescan. I don't remember reading that, but the cloud was about 10 miles wide.
Okay, think about this, audience. How small a ladybug is. Now, a swarm of them 10 miles wide.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I mean,
and impressive.
10 miles wide.
I don't even know how ladybugs fly. If you ever look at them, they don't even look like a bee.
Right, their back like cracks open and their wings come out.
Yeah, it's like they look like Bumblebee the Transformer is flying.
Oh,
so, funny. So it's just kind of a bizarre thing in general. But what were you going to say about the ladybugs?
Oh, California apparently has numerous species of ladybugs. I'd never really thought about it. They're not sure what kind of ladybug made up this cloud. And the weather watchers lost sight of the cloud overnight. So currently it's either dispersed or they don't know where they are.
It was a flash mob of ladybugs, and then they all broke up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Whoa, talking about dating yourself there. I've only seen two types of ladybugs, the yellow ones and then the red ones.
Oh, okay. So it's not exactly clear why we're seeing this big swarm now that we haven't before. One of the meteorologists is quoted as saying, is that just sort of a random effect of what happened in the weather and the prey populations? Is it having something to do with climate change that's sort of condensing when they all are going to fly, or the recent wildfires in California? We are just not sure.
Now, I have seen, growing up in Ohio, where there's like a big group of them. They kind of all get together and hang out. But 10 miles wide, and you said that's not even the biggest one ever recorded?
Oh, I don't remember. Did I say that?
Or that there's other big swarms like that?
Yeah, they've seen big swarms like this before. Let me see. Keep going with your
No. I was just saying, just in general, that I mean, that's a lot of ladybugs. I think of locusts, that's the one who's most famous for a swarm.
Right. This one appeared particularly large, they said, but it's not the first time local meteorologists have spotted something like this. So it sounds like this one was bigger than
the giant swarm of ladybugs.
Yes. But you mentioned a horror movie. I mean, ladybugs are so cute, but if they were 10 miles wide, I wouldn't want to drive through that or walk through that.
And if you've ever seen a group of ladybugs together, because like I said, I grew up in Ohio and I've seen them that way, not in like 10 miles wide, but I mean like just on a branch, there's like a whole bunch of them. They stop being kind of cute and they look kind of creepy when they're all on one branch.
I suppose, yeah. There's a picture in the article of an Instagram post where they're all sort of swarmed on a.
So there's a picture. There's a picture of them, and first off, ladybugs come in a whole bunch of different colors. So there's reds and yellows, but then there's different hues in between there. Mm-hmm. But they're all on this limb, and individually they look cute. As a group, not so cute. Am I right? Looking at that picture?
Yeah, they're still cute-ish, but yeah, you're like, oh, creepy crawly. When you were growing up, did you have the myth that if you counted their spots, you could tell if they were a boy or a girl?
No.
I can't remember which way it went, but an even number of spots was a girl and an odd number of spots was a boy, and I could have that mixed up, but that's what we always.
I didn't get this from our old wives' tale. I thought the yellow ones were boys and the red ones were girls.
No, I honestly don't know.
No. I just pulled that out as like a 5-year-old. That was just my 5-year-old
That was
math.
your 5-year-old brain. Maybe my brother just made that up and told me as a kid, and I was like, makes sense to me. This is related but not related. It's insect related. I read an article a while back about dragonflies. There is one specific type of dragonfly in one very specific region. A guy was there doing a study, not even about what he ended up writing about, but he noticed that the dragonflies would dive bomb to the ground and play dead.
Whoa.
And he started paying attention, and after a whole lot of observation, he realized they were female dragonflies, and if they didn't want to mate with the male who was pursuing them, they would whap into the ground like and then pretend they were dead.
So they're like, I got a headache, and then they go and just fall out.
Exactly. And then, the male dragonfly would come down and sort of, like, hey baby, you awake? And they would play dead. And
wow.
Then, because they didn't want to, I think dragonflies might be my spirit animal.
Well, then, but you think about it though, then they mate, and then she eats them anyway.
I don't know if this specific species of dragonfly does that, but
because I know dragonflies do eat don't dragonflies? No, sorry about that. Praying mantis.
Praying mantis, yes.
Praying mantis. Never mind. I'm actually killing mates off here on air, so I apologize.
On that false note, we're gonna go to our first break.
Fake news.
When we come back, we're going to be talking about cheese and an interesting relationship to music.
Don't cut the cheese while listening to music.
Wow. Stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Weird News and Bad Dad Jokes podcast, and we will be right back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts. Past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
Welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Podcast. Before the break, we were talking about ladybugs and dragonflies, and Tate was once again making bad dad jokes because that's what he does. He's not even a dad, so I don't even know why he has that gene.
Practice makes perfect.
Oh, nice.
Just in case.
Nice.
Break in case of emergency.
Okay, so this next story, as I said, is about cheese, and it's about music.
My favorite food group is cheese, by the way.
Cheese and music? Okay.
No, just cheese. I'm a cheeseaholic.
Yes, cheese is good. I went through a phase where I didn't like cheese. I didn't understand people. I worked with people from the Midwest at a summer camp for 2 summers, and the Midwesterners and their love of cheese baffled me.
Oh,
I don't know where my brain was at that point in life. I was confused, clearly. So you know how they say if you want healthy plants, you should talk to them, sing to them, interact with them?
Okay.
Okay. Apparently, if you want to make delicious cheese, you should try playing hip hop.
Ah, interesting.
Yes. So there was an experiment done by researchers in Switzerland who wanted to know if sound waves could affect the microorganisms that give cheese
what I was
its
just
flavor.
thinking. Right.
Okay. So the experiment is titled Cheese in Surround Sound, and it started last fall with 9 22-pound wheels of Emmental cheese placed in 9 separate wooden crates. Each assorted wheel of cheese was played one of various types of sound waves and songs, including Mozart's The Magic Flute, Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven, and jazz we've got from hip-hop legend A Tribe Called Quest.
All right.
There was also one control cheese wheel that wasn't given any music at all.
Okay.
Poor little sad cheese wheel with no music.
Okay.
Okay, there's a picture, and they are actually using vinyl.
Vinyl has the best quality sound.
But this is impressive. I mean, they found 9 records and 9,
or
record
they went
players.
to like some garage sale and someone just so happened to have a couple of record players laying around.
9 record players, and they were like, you know what?
And
That'd
they
be
had
a great
4
experiment.
albums. Yes.
So the cheeses were exposed to the music 24 hours a day over 6 months. The same song, 24 hours a day over 6 months. That's a lot. That's even worse than you working out to the same song over 2 hours.
Now, see, and yes, I do that. But when you look at cheese and it's, the sound's going through, it's a liquid, and you can tell sound does affect the liquid. I could see how that works.
Well, they did focus the sound waves into the cheese wheels, just so you know that the experiment was done properly. All the milk came from the same farmers. It was processed in the same vat so that the wheels would be as identical as possible. Once the cheeses matured, they were analyzed by professional food technologists who concluded the cheese wheels exposed to music had a milder flavor compared with the control cheese. The control cheese was just angry.
It was just raging.
It was, yeah. The group also determined the cheese that was played hip-hop had a discernibly stronger smell and stronger, fruitier taste than the other test samples.
Fruitier taste.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
So a panel of Swiss...
Now, wait a minute. Who was the hip-hop... what was the hip-hop group that they were playing?
A Tribe Called Quest.
Well, I guess that's a more mellower...
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting if they played like some old school 80s.
I'm thinking like have one with some like Lil Wayne and the other one with like Will Smith and see if there's a difference.
How about DMX?
That cheese would just burn up. And for anyone that doesn't know, DMX growls on his albums sometimes, and so I was just explaining.
Yes, he does. Okay, so there was a panel of Swiss chefs, politicians, and artists who also sampled cheese from each wheel in a blind taste test and agreed that the cheeses that were played hip-hop or low frequencies were sweeter than the rest.
Nice.
So this is crazy. I like its flavor. One judge is quoted as saying, and so the hip-hop cheese was my favorite cheese. Rock and roll and techno, there was not such a big difference. This is actually Beat Wamfler, a longtime cheese enthusiast who worked with researchers at Bern University of the Arts in Switzerland to create the experiment.
I say you have something going here, hip-hop cheese. It's what's for dinner.
I know. I think so. They should have a hip-hop cheese. So they're not done yet, though.
Okay.
But wait, there's more. The next goal is to create another study with only the transmission of hip-hop to cheese wheels against other control cheeses in silence.
Okay.
I still like your idea. They should try different kinds of hip-hop and see what they get.
Because the 2 Chainz cheese would definitely be a little more twang to it. A little more bite to it.
Maybe. So Wamfler, I love that name.
So
Wamfler.
Jay-Z cheese would be like a little more expensive?
Probably, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Wamfler is quoted as saying, the cheese can also work as a transmitter between different people who like hip-hop or who like folk or who like rock and roll. So this can also help bring society a little bit together. I think that's stretching it.
I think they're just trying to get them to finish up that article. Sometimes, it's like, man, I need one more paragraph to finish this article up.
I think, well, the man's name is Beat Wamfler.
Sounds like a cool hip-hop name, though.
Doesn't it? So, of course, he's going to have thoughts. He's going to have thoughts. All right, so... Would it ever have occurred to you to play music to cheese?
No, but it starts to make me think about like other things that you could like make and play music to.
I keep thinking of the Cheez-Its commercials where they test to see if they're quote unquote mature.
Well, what I started thinking about is cheese is kind of a milk product, and then the vibration of the music going through that. So then start thinking about like baking cakes and other cheesecakes and cream pies.
I wonder if they've done this experiment with goat's milk cheese.
See, there's a whole world out there.
There's a whole world. So next time you make a souffle, or no, maybe not a souffle. Next time
it may fall differently.
It may fall.
It may fall like a Kango.
So next time you make a cheesecake, play it some hip hop. You have to direct those sound waves into your oven, but. Could be an interesting experiment.
It can't be any of that crossover. So it's like that Old Town Road, which is that new song that is kind of country, but yeah, a little hip hop.
That's kind of a weird news story.
I like it.
Do you want to tell the folks about that, or should we do that when we come back from the break?
Make that another episode.
Make that another episode.
Yes.
Ooh, not even a teaser over the break, a teaser over some other episode. 15 weeks from now, we'll remember and be like,
Yes.
hey, you remember that story we were going to tell you? All right. Well, we are going to take our second break, and when we come back, we will be wrapping things up with our last weird news story of the episode. So
Like wrapping up a cheese sandwich.
Sure.
We'll be back.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Welcome back to the GSMC Weird News Tate musical
Play
podcast.
this song for some cheese. I'm digging it.
That could also be angry cheese or
Angry
like really
cheese.
cool cheese. I don't know what kind of cheese you'd get out of that. All right. So we have one final story for this episode, and we're moving from Sweden to, well, first we started in Southern California, then we moved to Switzerland. Sorry.
Switzerland.
I can't believe I just did that. Switzerland. And now we are moving to Canada.
Oh, Canada,
What is with you and the singing tonight?
my home and native land.
No, it's not.
All right. I lived in Cleveland, so it was close enough.
I lived closer than you did.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here's a weird news story. Sarah is from Montana. She grew up on the Canadian-Montana border.
Not. I was further south than that.
And she's never been to Canada.
That's true. I've never been to Canada, but I did not grow up on the border.
That is sad.
It is sad. And now you need a passport to get in, although I have one. But yeah, we never went. We went to Glacier National Park a lot, which is right there, but we never crossed over.
All right. What do we got going on here?
Okay, so this story is about a safe at a museum in Canada. It has been locked for 40 years. The museum is in Alberta. It is the Vermilion Heritage Museum, and they said that the safe had once been inside the Brunswick Hotel, which closed in the 70s, and the safe was brought to the museum in 1992. Okay, so they have a locked safe. They haven't been able to get into it. I'm immediately thinking of that episode that Geraldo did.
Oh, now see, I thought about that, but then I'm thinking like dead body.
Oh my. Well, so museum officials said repeated attempts were made by experts to get into the safe, which is crazy because there's so many, you always hear about
Some
safe
of those
crackers.
old safes are this hard to crack.
Yeah. But despite their attempts, it had been locked for about 40 years before Stephen Mills and his family stopped by the museum. Mills has absolutely no experience cracking safes, but for some reason he was given permission to attempt to open this 2,000-pound metal box.
No way.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to know what the conversation happened. Like, he walks in, he's like,
Well, it's
hey.
like no one can crack this, so yeah, go ahead. They
Or
probably
maybe-
let a lot of people play around
I was
with
just
it.
going to say, maybe they let lots of people. And so he managed to crack it in about 30 seconds.
Wow, that's amazing.
And he used the first number combination that popped into his head of 20, 40, 60.
Nice.
He just opened a random safe. But he says I'm pretty sure my jaw dropped to the floor. I was like, oh my goodness.
That'd have been, it would have been trippy if he'd have did that, but then freaked out because he thought he broke it, so he closed it, changed it, and closed it, and didn't remember what combination he put in there. It was closed for another 40 years.
You can tell this is a Canadian because his jaw dropped to the floor and he was like, "Oh my goodness!" You get an American dude, he'd be dropping the F-bomb.
So what did they say when it opened?
Okay, so unfortunately, there wasn't. I don't know what they were hoping was in there, but what was actually
Cheese?
in there? Cheese. Oh, geez. What was in there was some papers, old checks, a waitress's notebook, and a receipt from the hotel. That's it. In a 2,000-pound safe.
Lame.
Lame.
I want something good in there.
I know.
like-
I mean, I don't want a dead body.
No, what do you want? Like
I want a diary that reveals secrets heretofore, that tells
like an old baseball card or something.
something.
Like that. Yes.
Or, the location to where Jimmy Hoffa's buried. I don't know why that would be in a safe in Canada, but...
Do you know that probably most of our audience have no clue who Jimmy Hoffa is now?
Probably.
Yes. You just dated yourself.
Oh, I've been dating myself. Oh, I like to date myself. I'm a nice person.
She's an old lady.
I am not as old as you are. Okay, we'll stop fighting about age and outing each other on our ages and move on to another...
And she's not really that old. Ancient.
I'm going to podcast divorce you. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kick you off my show.
Your show? Wow.
Yeah, it's my show now.
There's a pecking order on this show now. I come in late and now...
Exactly.
I'm the second banana.
You are. Yes.
I'll just lock you in a safe.
Okay, so I have another story about a safe. This one is from 2013, but this person actually found something rather interesting, and it wasn't even something that they were, this safe in Canada, they were hoping there would be something in it. In 2013, a man in Toledo, Ohio, ordered a new 1,000-pound safe from the Champion Safe Company of Provo, Utah. So, of course, when you order a new safe, you're not expecting anything to be in it, right?
Right.
But the safe, which Champion Safe Co. made sure to say was built in Mexico, held 10 28-pound packages of marijuana.
That's crazy.
A value of, at that time, $420,000.
What do you do with that? And I have a similar story that I have to share on that one.
Well, let's just wrap this up, and you can tell your similar story. But so this wasn't really, like a thanks for your business kind of, here's some marijuana.
Thank you you are our 1,000th safe. Here you go.
The owner of the safe has remained anonymous. He was actually cleared of all charges by the DEA, but the independent driver who delivered the safe from Mexico has since been reported missing. Not good.
Whoa. So he was supposed to drop that safe off. So he was probably supposed to deliver.
Yeah, probably the marijuana was not supposed to be delivered with the safe.
Now, where I tie into this one,
yes,
which it's weird that I have all these weird stories to go with it, is the fact that I bought my house, the house that I had, and one of the crazy things about my house was I hooked my dryer up to it, and my dryer would overheat and shut down.
Okay.
And I had a service guy come in, and nothing. They change out some modules and things like that, hook it up, it runs for a little bit, and then it would get hot and shut down. Had this problem, went on for months. We bought a brand new dryer, brought it in, still the same thing. So they assumed that the dryer vent was clogged. So we had a company come in to clean out the dryer vent, and they stuck a snake down the dryer vent.
Mm-hmm. They didn't try that in the first place? I mean,
no, they did not.
Interesting.
And so they kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and they pushed out 2 small packages that was wrapped up in plastic wrap of marijuana in my house.
Now,
and then later,
is that a good place to store your marijuana? I mean, does the heat from the dryer do anything to it?
I'm not sure because it was already wrapped in plastic. But when I told my neighbors about this, they said that the house once upon a time was part of a grow house in California. And
this is before it was legal.
This is before it was legal. And it got shut down. And that's how the house came up for sale. But that was not kind of told to me before I bought the house.
Obviously. This reminds me of the story.
Something like housewarming gift.
Nice. What did you do with it?
I threw it in I threw it in a dumpster, and then my neighbor was all upset, and he went in the dumpster and got it.
Oh, jeez.
His name was Cotton.
Well, Cotton.
Cotton
was like, welcome to the neighborhood. Thank you.
Yes.
This just reminds me of a real quick story that I read. It was on the East Coast. It was in the middle of winter. All the houses were covered in snow, as happens in the winter.
I know
except
this story.
for one house that was perfectly clear of snow. The roof was perfectly clear of snow, and that was because of the grow lamps that had made it so warm. All the snow melted off, and they were caught.
I've heard this before, but this is a normal way in the East Coast and the Midwest how police a lot of times will find grow houses, is the fact that in the wintertime, snow does not accumulate on the roof because it's so hot.
Word to the wise, people.
Yes.
Throw
some snow.
Put some fake snow on your roof.
Fake snow on your roof, or just move to California or some other state where it's legal.
Something. On that tip of the day, we are going to...
I was going to say, before we go to that, and I can't believe we're getting sidetracked on this, or I'm getting sidetracked, but I heard that there was a state, not only has marijuana have been legalized, but some state legalized mushrooms.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was like Colorado or something like that.
I'd have to look that up.
Legalized mushrooms, and I'm like, wait a minute, that just blew my mind. So I'll have to get more information on that.
That's a psychedelic drug.
Yes.
Interesting.
So, but it's a natural drug.
Yeah,
and I am not condoning drug use whatsoever, audience. I'm just saying it was a weird story that I had heard. A lot.
There were some brownies. There was,
You know what? You have a point in previous episodes. I have brought this up before.
You have.
Or maybe I just live a colorful life.
That could be, too. I don't know the answer to that, but we'll explore that more on the next episode of Weird News. Thanks for tuning in.
Have a good night, everyone.